All right, guys, just played the front 9 out here at Mill Ridge. Now we're here checking out the back 9. Enjoy. All right, we got hole 10. We got a 741-foot par 4. It doglegs to the left. We got about 300 feet straight, and then it starts doglegging left. The tree line and the OB line come into play at about 300, 350 feet on that right-hand side. I'm gonna throw a buzz. Just try to follow the nice wood line on the right side and fade into the fairway. Trying to throw about a 350-foot shot, something like that. And just keep it in the middle, try to keep it in bounds. You almost want to favor that right-hand side. It gives you a better angle into the green, but you don't want to push it too close to that OB line. So that's a little bit short, looks like. So I didn't throw that quite high enough. I like the line. I'm gonna throw one more. Same shot, just throw it a little bit higher and try to get a little bit more distance on that same shot. So that's a little better. I might even push that OB line long, so we'll see. Hopefully it hyzers a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's great. All right, we're gonna bomb one just for fun. Joey told me to, so I'm gonna throw my Z Swirl Force. Bomb it down there, see how much distance we can get, and see if we can't get a look for the eags. That actually looks pretty good. It might be a little left. Oh, that might be safe. We have a little throw in. Look. That was a good shot. Yeah, that was we got a little bit of a headwind, so you can see I threw my Tour Series Force, a little bit of flex out of the hand, and then started gliding back left. It's just got such a good complement of glide and then hyzer at the very end, like you saw. After it flew about 500, 550, something like that, it then started to hyzer. So love the controlled glide and complement of distance and hyzer at the very end. So yeah, let's see if we can't throw in an eagle on that one for you. All right, so we got my second buzz shot that I cut close to this right-hand side. As you see, the right-hand side is pretty much exactly where you want to land. Kind of sets you up a nice straight shot. So I like throwing the straight shot into this green here. It kind of just allows for my most confident shot shape, which is kind of a left to right flex shot, which I feel like I can hit this gap pretty good amount of the time. So I want to be close to this right side OB line, but I also don't want to be super close. I think about right in this range, not far from where this disc is. I just don't want to get too close to that OB line and actually go out of bounds. So throw a little bit flippier buzz on the second shot, try to throw it into the ground at about 30 feet and skip up to it. A little bit too high. So that one was a little high. I'm gonna try a second buzz.
Oh, but it got a great kick.
It's super slippery right now, which is gonna be the conditions of the tournament, I think. So I'm gonna throw an ESP buzz. Oh, crap. Oh my goodness, that is insane. Look how much I freaking slipped. That is crazy. So it looks like I won't be throwing a run-up shot this weekend because I took a divot with my feet, a foot divot. Honestly, like throwing a blast shot up here is definitely not a bad play, just for the simple fact you don't have to throw from the mud pit of a fairway back there. And that's actually gonna be pretty important. And you have a lot more room on this right-hand side to flex it. And even if you hit these trees, you have, well, the one I went for it is in bounds, pretty easy 3. Let's see if we can't throw it in for 2 though. We got a little awkward line, but throw this TI zone after the force. Too high. Drop. Oh, wasn't short though. That's always good when you're trying to throw it in. But yeah, I almost don't mind the go for it shot, just like I said, for the simple fact of you don't have to deal with that run up. As you see that run up, I slipped and wasn't able to really get a good footing, which is obviously the most important thing when you're throwing a 300-foot shot into a green like this. So, and the fairways are going to be even more wet, just for the simple fact that it's going to be raining every day leading up to the tournament. So yeah, not ideal, but hey, we got a shot down here that we can make the putt. Oh, a little bit low. Oh, this one's in. Oh, a little bit closer each time, but didn't get the make with the spin putt. But yeah, I think the biggest thing learned on that hole is just how tough the run up is in the middle of the mud fairway. And so it may change my shot, just the fact that it's hard, you can hit the fairway and not really have much of a run up, and that's a big disadvantage. And it might actually lead me to throw the go for it shot just to bypass the muddy fairway. And then this is the upshot. Got kind of a tap in 3. Oops, normally a tap in 3 if it doesn't flop out like that last one did. Yeah, I think that might be, depending on the wind, that might be a go for it hole just to bypass that muddy fairway. All right, we got hole 11, 294 foot par 3, super touchy flex shot. I'm gonna go with the Fresno Swarm. And yeah, this one just kind of hit the gap out of your hands. That's the most important part. If you don't hit the gap, you're gonna be scrambling all over the place. So I didn't turn that one quite enough, but throw one more. One more, try to throw maybe a Raptor, just something soft and slow. Yeah, try to get a cap wrap, skip ace. This one's got a right to left wind, so everything's gonna wanna push also to that left-hand side, which is exactly what happened with my first one. That one's better. So that one should, unless it hits the middle tree. So yeah, threw it good, hit the middle tree, but that's pretty much the speed and line, everything that I wanted to throw. So yeah, we'll go up there and take a couple putts. So I hit this tree coming into the basket. I hit this middle tree, which is kind of right in the middle of the fairway. Got a decent kick up to circle's edge, which is totally fine. Almost don't want to throw a driver just because it's going to get a lot of skip now that I'm looking at the hole a little bit more. Definitely not a bad idea just to give yourself a look at the basket. Ooh, as you can see, we got a little bit of a tailwind and my nose down putt lifted and I didn't pay too much attention to it. And so I hit high on that one. So that's just something I got to be a little bit more cautious of when I'm putting into a tailwind is my putt's a little bit different than everybody else's. It lifts into a tailwind just because my nose angle is different. So can be an advantage using that tailwind to your advantage and lifting that putt into the chains, but it also can get too much lift sometimes. All right, we got hole 12, we got a par 5, 1,129 feet. We got this cluster of trees on that right-hand side. If you can be pin high with that cluster, maybe 50 to 60 feet left, that's kind of the sweet spot. I'm gonna go with an Athena, just kind of throwing a left to right shot, using that short tee as an aiming point. If I can throw over top of that short tee with kind of some straight push to it, you know, landing about 400, 420, nothing crazy. Just a nice smooth fairway shot. This is kind of a shot I'm just trying to throw low, line drive, not trying to blast, give it any sort of crazy height or angle to give it that chance to go be left or right. I'm just throwing a fairway finder shot, low line drive. Just like that. That's pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. I want to go a little bit straighter. That's not quite as long as I wanted, but it's not necessarily the worst. I'm going to throw a little bit more stable onyx, a little bit more flex, and try to get a little more distance. There we go. That's a little bit better. Get a little bit more glide, a little bit more distance. Now that's going to come back into the kind of sweet spot there. I'm going to throw one blast shot. Try to throw a similar shot with just like a force. My Glidey Z-Swirl Force, the Tour Series. This is the Go For It Force for sure. A little bit glide. So that, as you can see, I threw it low, but I still threw it kind of penetrating shot. And yeah, it's a good shot. I still only threw that about 80%. I didn't throw it full power, but still got about 450, which is a good fairway finder shot. Give myself a birdie look. All right, so I threw the fairway finder kind of low shot, probably only 400 feet, didn't blast it. Just trying to throw a nice smooth forehand. We got a left to right, so I'm gonna throw it nice and high, let that left to right wind push my forehand into the fairway. Just using this scraggle tree as a height indicator as to how high I wanna throw over top of that. That should be pretty good. We're exactly where I wanna go and land. That should be in that fairway. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm gonna throw one more because this is a pretty easy spot to land in, pretty routine. I can pretty much do this every time. That one might be a little bit low. So yeah, I went right into that. I still got through, but I threw it a little bit low, more than I wanted to. So yeah, I mean, throw it to point A with the fairway, throw it up in the air, kind of get that nice fade with a you know, distance driver, some sort of Venom for me or Force, something like that. And then these are my other two shots that are a little bit further, but it really doesn't do me any good to throw that much further just because I'm still playing for that 4. And yeah, I just want to get out in that open field, use that crosswind to push my forehand into that field and then kind of gauge the upshot into the basket from there. All right, so here's my forehand that pushed into this fairway. As you can see, the next shot has those feather banners that you can see, and there's a cluster of trees just in front of that. That's kind of the reference point. I'm trying to throw a hyzer basically into those trees and filter down to the basket, but I'm keeping in mind that if I hit those trees and drop, I'm still 20 to 25 feet very birdieable position. So I'm gonna take my cap wrap, throw it wide, and play it into those trees. I'm gonna thinking it's probably a 320 shot from here, something like that. So gotta throw it decently hard. That's gonna be a little bit wide, it looks like, unless it skips a lot. Okay, so it did skip. So that should be good. It looks like it's got a good skip. Should be somewhere near circle's edge or maybe a little better. So I'm gonna throw another shot with the cap wrap, similar shot shape and everything. And exact same shot pretty much. Little wide, should skip. Looks like I got bushed on that one. There might be a bush or something up there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw one more. This is kind of I like throwing a bunch from here just for the simple fact that this is a spot where it's very likely to land here for the tournament. So that's another shot, looks decent. Yep, we got a good skip. Should be solid. We'll see the distance. I'm not sure if I'm short on those because my first time running through this track since last year. So yeah, we'll go up, see what the distance looks like. I know the shot shape, the angle that I want to throw, and then it's just gauging the distance and how far or short I am based on that shot that I just threw. So as you can see, these trees, I threw one of them into the trees over there, the clear Captain Raptor. The other ones that hyzed off a little bit are totally fine, 20 footers. No chance of going in those trees or anything. So this is kind of ideal, is just kind of taking this putt for birdie from about 20 feet or so. But yeah, throwing the Raptor I think is a good distance control shot for this third shot into this par 5 for sure. And then the one that did go into these trees is still fine. So there's nothing too risky about going into these trees. Pretty easy putt from about 20 feet or so. So these trees are a good reference point because if you hit them, you're still putting for birdie. All right, hole 13, we got a 574 par 4, throw into a landing zone, just straight ahead. You're trying to throw probably a 250 to 300 foot, just flex forehand. There is a bush line long that you want to just land just short of. So if you throw your disc 320, something in that range, you're too far and you're not going to have a good shot into the green. So you really want to throw a specific distance at about 270 to 300 feet, and that leaves you through a tight window into the green. So I'm gonna throw a cap wrap, just a nice flex shot, kind of towards that last Zucca banner that you can see. That might be a little bit. Okay, no, I got a good skip, so that should be good. That should be pretty much right where I'm trying to land. So hopefully I can land this disc on top of that other one. And the wider you are, the better. That one might be a little bit too far. So we'll see. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like from that second one, as it got a little bit more glide than the first one. So it may have put me in behind that tree cluster. Like I said, if you go at 320, you're kind of screwed. So yeah, let's check it out. All right, guys, wanted to update you. I've got 2 shops, one in Phoenix, one in Mesa. Disc Golf HQ, got the hat right here. So if you're in the Phoenix area, check it out. We are working on a website as well. So the website will be launching in the next week or 2. So stay tuned for that. But if you're vacationing in Phoenix this winter, this spring, check us out, Disc Golf HQ. So we got my first one. It's a short of this gap, kind of chopped off angle a little bit, and then brings us to the long one, which is almost too far. So as you can see, we want to kind of land somewhere in between, which this actually isn't the worst spot. I can throw kind of a flex shot with like a Raptor or something. So this isn't the worst angle. You almost rather be long than short because you don't have much of an angle short. So we'll throw from that green one first and then come over here and throw another shot from there, just to practice both angles. So this shot, it looks like it's pretty routine, but we have a tree limb that sticks out and we have OB on the left-hand side. So you almost have to throw it high to give it the time to come back to the right. So it's a little tricky. I have to kind of cut it close to this tree with some height to give it time to come back right, because I don't want to go mess around with this OB on the left-hand side. So that's pretty ideal. We'll see what the distance looks like. Yeah, so that was a force. Just landed about 20 feet short. Just focused on getting the angle, getting through that gap. Now I'm gonna come over to where my blue one was, which as you guys can see is a little bit shorter of a distance, but it has a little bit more of a weird angle. So we'll kind of come from here. This is kind of where it was. So I'm gonna throw a Raptor, a little bit more glidey Raptor, just a regular one, not a cap wrap. And so as you can see, I got a little more glide on that, turned it over, and got it up there right next to the basket. So a little different shot, as you can see. If I go long versus short, I'm throwing kind of a glidey hyzer around the corner, versus here I'm throwing more of a flex shot that lands straight. All right, didn't leave ourselves much of a tester, which is always good in the wind. The force was obviously the first one around the corner shot, judged the distance in the line pretty well. Whoops, so much for the non-tester putt it right into the cage. But yeah, TI force, and then the second one straight at it was the Raptor. So yeah, just different shot shape, requires different disc. So got the flex shot dialed, got the hyzer dialed, and hopefully don't doink the headwind putt into the cage. Nah, we're not doing that again. All right, hole 14, we got a 945 par 5, and we got a good reference point is those yellow kind of signs. If you can land in that vicinity, that's gonna be exactly what you want. We got OB running left and right. It used to be OB running in front of the fairway to where you had to clear a certain landing zone, whereas now it's not as much of a risky play as it was last year. But they'll probably try to throw a 400-foot hyzer, got a crosswind, so I'm gonna hang it out wide and let the wind kind of take it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Just kind of throw a nice smooth hyzer, just like that. Throw one more, throw the Predator on this one. Maybe try to throw a little bit harder. It's pretty much the same shot, and that should be a nice, good angle into the green from there. Those are both just smooth, probably 80–90% fairway driver shots, throwing them a little bit wide, and then relying on this right to left wind. Once again, we're using the wind to our advantage, throwing it wide, knowing the wind's gonna swing it out a little bit more left than it normally would. And you do wanna be on the left center fairway, kind of gives you a better angle in. You don't wanna get too cute and actually go OB left, but you do wanna be left center to open up the angle back right for the second shot, to give yourself a good landing zone to throw an upshot into the green on your third shot. All right, so through my first Raptor, a little shorter than my second shot. I felt a little more comfortable once I threw one shot. I could throw a little bit harder on that same line. Now I'm gonna throw my focus. Just use this wood line as a reference. Throw it at the wood line with some turn and kind of turn into the landing zone. Just like that. That should be ideal. Just right where you wanna throw your second shot from is right about there. Kind of got you pick your shot, either forehand or turnover smooth putter for the upshot. I'm definitely thinking about blasting a little bit further to get a little more distance. I can definitely get across this. Obviously, I'm only throwing a fairway driver at about 80%. If I throw a nuke at about 90%, I can get more turn, get more flex, get myself up here across this valley. And obviously, I'm risking left and right out of bounds. Throwing a faster disc, taking a lot more risk, but very doable to land across here and then throw a nice hyzer up to the basket. So I might try one just to see. Yeah, so I'm gonna try from right here. I think I can definitely realistically throw a shot to here, and then let's see where the shot would go. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a shot using that dead tree. It looks like it's about 25–30 feet right of the basket. So I wanna throw left, obviously favor the left-hand side because, yeah, there's OB right. That looks like it's gonna be way wide. We'll see though if it swings. So yeah, a little wide. I'm gonna throw a little bit higher next time on this shot. This one I'm gonna throw a nuke. We have a little bit of a crosswind that pushed that first one that I didn't really pay attention to. I'm gonna throw a nuke, a little bit hyzer, a little bit more hyzer, a little bit higher. Make the adjustment. There we go. I like that a lot. So we'll see where that goes. That looks great, huh? So that looked good. I split the field goal almost, is what you're kind of trying to do. So I split the field goal on the second one. I learned about the headwind, crosswind. That's the risk you take when you throw a big shot like that, is you don't necessarily know the wind until after you throw. And like that first one, it turned a little bit too much. So that's the risk you take. I know how to get into that landing zone, and now I've kind of dialed a couple shots in. Definitely can do it. Just whether I feel like I need to get extra aggressive and throw the Tiger Woods shot. So here's my putter that I threw on the second shot from the fairway driver kind of layup. The second shot is here. The third shot's kind of around the corner of the basket. If I'm pointing to it, it's right here. So you got to go kind of high and wide around the corner. Not super far, but something just like that is kind of what you're looking for. That should be good distance-wise and line-wise. So we'll do another one, something like that. And yeah, both those look pretty solid. So we'll go up there, check the line on those, and make the adjustment from there. My go for it shot was a little bit too far, went OB long, but that was a nuke, so I can definitely downgrade to like a force or something, and that should take me into this area. So definitely a very doable shot once I kind of gauge it, dial it in. And then these couple here went a little bit further around the corner than I would have wanted, but not necessarily the worst things ever. Still very makeable. So yeah, zone on the second shot is going to be probably the play. Yeah, just a matter of if I want to go for it on the second shot, try to get the eagle. I know the distance control, I know the shot. Joey's right, that tree is pin high, so you want to, that's a good distance reference to then throw a shot over top of the tree, get yourself an eagle look. All right, hole 15, 375-foot par 3 downhill. The biggest variables is forehand's kind of the more open area, but there is this overhanging limb that you want to make sure to go around. If you saw off early, you're almost always going to hit that. So you definitely want to go around it nice and low and kind of skip your way around the corner. So I'm going to throw a Raptor kind of wide and low. Whoops, that was a little bit too, hit a little bit too wide. So I'm going to throw another one. Same shot, just a little bit lower. That's probably going to hit that tree. We'll see. Maybe not. Okay, so I actually got around it. So I threw it far enough to where it went around the tree. I was meaning to throw it a little bit lower than that. Let's try one. Try this Raptor. We'll try another Raptor again. I'll throw it. This one I'm going to have to flex a little bit more because it's a little bit more stable. That might hit those limbs that I'm talking about again, so we'll see. Okay, it didn't. Okay, nice. So it looks like that's parked. So that was a great shot. So kind of threw a little bit more flex. The first one was a little bit more hyzer and relied on the understability to kind of glide, get around those limbs, and then fade back right. And then the second one, I threw a little bit more flex, a little bit more chop on it, and that one turned around the limbs and then got a good skip around the corner. So we'll go to these limbs where I'm talking about to show you how they kind of overhang the fairway. So here's the limb that I'm talking about. So from the tee pad, if you hyzer off a little bit early, you're going to hit that and drop to pretty much have no putt. So really that's the main goal, get around this limb, trust your disc, and it's a little bit easier said than done because if you do trust your disc too much and get a little bit too much glide, you are going to go out of bounds and probably get a bogey. So you definitely have to test these trees on the long side and then fade back and skip just to make sure you get around that tree. So definitely a lot of variables, yeah, these two Raptors are the move. This one's the kind of forehand glidey hyzer. This one was the flex around the corner. So two good shots. And then you just make the 20-footer for birdie. But yeah, I really like this Captain Raptor, this blue one. Actually, a teammate of mine, CR Willie, shout out to him. He gave me this disc. It's out here on the Pro Tour getting birdies. So thank you teammate. So we got hole 16, 359 on the tee sign. Real distance is probably more like 280. So I'm gonna go with the smooth flex cap wrap. The blue one, the last one I threw on the last hole, pretty similar. So I'm gonna throw the same disc. You can see the last corner of the boards, those go at like a 45 this way, and the basket's actually like over this direction. So you wanna make sure to throw it nice and high on a hole like this because it's around the corner, it gives it time to kind of fly around the corner. If you throw it too low, it's not gonna have that time to kind of hyzer around the corner. So nice and high flex. That one might be a little bit too wide, looks like. Okay, actually that's not bad. Looks like it had time to go around the corner. I wanted to throw a little bit higher, so this one I'm gonna throw a little bit higher and see what we got. There we go. That's nice and high like I wanted it. That one's a little bit better. So kind of see how those two are different. And as you guys can see, that first one was a little bit lower on the trajectory than I wanted, and that second one's a little bit higher, and that should give it time to kind of glide around the corner and around this bush. So we'll kind of gauge the two and then see the height that I want to go with for the tournament. So the tee sign is definitely deceptive. It definitely plays a lot shorter than 350. Plays, like I said, more like 280, 270 even. So just a nice 70% smooth kind of cap wrap, something like that for me. And that should give me all the distance I need to get that birdie. So The other one's right up there a little bit closer because I gave it a little bit more height, so I had time to get closer to the basket and glide around the corner. All right, hole 17, 594 foot par 4. You can see kind of a down stick on the left side of the fairway. You kind of want to use that as a reference point, and that's the time that you want to kind of start fading off to the right-hand side, and then it leaves you a tight upshot with a tight, narrow green. I haven't seen this hole. It's a new hole, so I'm going to throw one forehand Raptor. That looks like it's going to be a little wide, potentially. Okay, that looks good. Didn't quite get enough skip as I wanted, so I'm going to throw one more, try to get a little bit more skip around the corner, cut off a little bit more distance. Okay, so we'll kind of see that one. I sawed it off a little bit more, got a little bit more skip. First one, I got a little bit more glide, so we'll see where the 2 puts us. All right, so through the first shot, use this stick as a reference point, and I was pin high with the stick about, as you can see, 30 feet right of it. That leaves me in a good spot, so I can use that stick as a reference point from the tee pad, which on a lot of these blind holes, I definitely do that. So second shot, I haven't thrown it, but I feel like it's gonna be about 350 up the hill, so I'm gonna throw a buzz, trying to get the line right and everything, so throw an ESP buzz with my good old Raptor stamp. So that one feels like it might be a little short, but we'll see. So I like that line. That line was pretty much perfect, but it feels like it's probably going to be about 40 short. So we're going to throw the same shot with the Athena, get that same line, just a little extra pop on it. So that feels a lot better. So we'll see when we get up there. That felt a lot better. So that should be a little bit more distance than that buzz and give us that little bit more glide just by throwing the Athena versus the buzz. So, yep, really like that forehand play with the Raptor. Gives us an uphill kind of approach into the green. And then it's just the distance control, whether I want to throw a fairway or a buzz. We'll be able to tell once we get up there based on how far away we are from the basket. So yeah, the buzz is a little bit short and still a little bit short with the Athena, but a lot better of a pin high, just a little bit left more than anything. So yeah, a little tricky green, very doable for sure. Just practice my cardio putts going up the hill here. Ooh. All right, so yeah, I made the adjustment through the fairway on the second shot and getting a good view of the green for the first time. So I definitely have a better gauge of what I want to do on this hole. And yeah, definitely gonna be a fairway driver coming in. Still short, even with that adjustment throwing the Athena. So gotta just throw it uphill, got a little bit, everything's fading off a little bit left, just because we're going uphill, so I gotta throw a little bit flippier, a little bit harder to counter that. All right, hole 18, we got a 520 foot par 3 downhill, awesome finishing hole for the spectators. For us players, we get to end with a bomb. This hole probably plays about 450, but just got so much open airspace to work with, you can throw whatever shot you want. We got the right to left wind here, has kicked in a little bit, so I'm gonna upgrade to the wide hyzer around the trees with the Venom and a force. First one's gonna be the Venom. I almost have to go over top of this tree to kind of take me into the right line with this wind as far as the angle and how much carry I'm gonna get left. So I'm using this tree here over top of that tree, and that should carry me with this wind somewhere near the circle. I like it. Maybe a little bit long, but the line was good. I think if I throw a little bit higher and not as far forward, it's gonna get that carry left instead of that one kind of penetrated forward before it went left. This one I'm gonna throw a little bit hyzer, try to play a little bit more of a spiky shot. There we go, that's kind of better what I'm looking for. It's gonna spike in, should be decent, we'll see. Okay, so looks like that was a solid shot. It hit at circle's edge somewhere around there, so we'll just see kind of where those two are. I really liked them. I like the line of them. And we'll just kind of see the ground play. I'm sure some of them may have skipped, some of them may have spiked. So that's another thing when we get up there, the ground is soft. So I do want to see if my disc kind of made a divot in the ground. And that's going to tell me whether it's kind of sticking up there or if it's skipping. So those are things I look for on a blind shot like this, just to see the ground action, because that's super important to know if I'm throwing on that angle, if my disc is going to spike or if it's going to skip. And definitely look for that when I get up there. All right, so the OB line comes way around to the right-hand side, which I didn't know. So it's kind of a lot sketchier as far as how tight the OB is, more than I thought. So my first one's probably definitely gonna be OB, and the second one that I made the adjustment is gonna be good. But yeah, definitely not ideal to have to go over this out of bounds the whole way. The second one's a little bit short. So I did spike. As you can see, I got a little bit of dirt on my disc, which means I hit and dug right here and didn't skip. So we'll go up to my second one. I'm imagining I'm out of bounds, which yes, I am. So definitely not ideal to be throwing this big hyzer over the out of bounds pretty much the entire way. I don't love it, just because we got a lot of trees that can hit and trickle out of bounds, stuff like that. Tricky shot, no doubt about that. So I might have to throw more of a direct straight shot at this hole. Now that I can kind of see the OB and the configuration and everything on the hole, I don't want to be messing around with this OB as much as I have to with this big hyzer. So definitely make that adjustment, pick up my disc. Next practice round, I'm going to take a more direct with the fairway, maybe even a mid-range to kind of go more straight at it. Make the adjustment here on 18. Thank you guys for watching the practice round out here at Mill Ridge. Let's do it this weekend. Let's have a good week. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.